there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Have you missed us?
We have
missed you guys. There's no two ways about it. Streams are happening now, okay?
And they will be happening.
As you can see, Vinny and I are still alive.
We've returned. We're alive.
After the scary storm. What was it called? Helen? Yes. But we survived. Other villagers have survived. In fact, the March Madness money was able to help some of our villagers during this difficult time.
Yep, okay. Dear listener, it's been 84 years. All right, here we go. Let's go. Start up again.
Okay, starting up. What we have as an introduction, you guys, is the alliances tonight. The alliances are on Patreon. So if you're interested in joining or helping to pick those songs, that's where you go. It starts out at $1 a month. So just jump on there, send a message to yours truly, or sometimes Vinny hops up in there. But one of us, not a computer, one of us is going to respond back to you and tell you how you can get in with these alliances.
Yes, one of us, not the AI.
Nope, no AI there. All right, so
the real Homo sapiens, Vin and Sori.
Yes. So the introduction tonight says, we will start the stream with Negative Vibes TK Alliance Celebration pick, which has been pending due to missing lyrics. Despite all of Negative Vibes' efforts to contact the band for them, we'll have to go on without the lyrics. That was unfortunate.
Terrible!
But what I was going to say, the storm must go on.
We've
been having too much of storms. No, the show must go on. So the first song is by a band named Pyramids. The name of the song is In Perfect Stillness, I Have Only Found Sorrow. I think this sounds like a really interesting song. I am disappointed that there is no lyrics, but maybe we can hear enough of it while we go.
If we're a bit out of sync, don't worry. Our internet has been a little loopy, as you can imagine, considering we live in the area of the storm. But we should be okay. We had to push through it tonight. We spent far too much time away from you beautiful people.
This is Negative Vibes' pick for our Alliance celebration. Says Neil, Pyramids are an experimental metal band from Texas.
Oh, God, I hope it's not this weirdo stuff. Okay, Northern Scoundrel wanted you to know that he has actually not seen any of the bands on this stream live. That'd be a first. Northern Scoundrel was like, oh yeah, I was friends with this guy from Metallica when we went to grade school together. All right, here we go. Song numero uno.
And here's a picture of the band.
In Pyramids. In Perfect Stillness, I Have Found Only Sorrow. Good night.
the title kind of sets the pace for the song. It did have like a sort of like sadness to it. What? Did you thought it was complete trash? What's going on with you?
We were on mute for like the first 15 seconds. Shout out to Hoyle. Thank you for being on X, Hoyle.
I was like breaking down the...
Sori was giving us a DMT-inspired breakdown of the
detailed.
entire space-time continuum.
Yeah.
You missed it there, listener.
Okay, so basically what I was saying is I when the song first started out, I was like, well, I knew we didn't have lyrics to it. I still didn't believe it. I had to check a couple more places. I was like hoping ChatGPT was going to help. Because I really like knowing what the band is actually talking about. But anyway, we had to push on without it. But then the lyric, like it started and I really couldn't hear much. I thought he said something about chasing the wrong train. I don't even know if I heard that. Then thought I heard something. I couldn't decipher it. Maybe you were able to decipher some of the lyrics. No. So I just basically ended up just, chilling and enjoying the music. There were parts of it that I was like, and then there was other parts of it where it kind of reminded me of it's I want to say Receiving End of Sirens, but it's a band that has like those kind of soaring vocals like that.
Yeah, Receiving End of Sirens.
Is it? Right, like that, yeah. Right. So I was kind of thinking of them, and then obviously the title of the song kind of sets the pace for In Perfect Stillness I've Only Found Sorrow. I actually like Perfect Stillness, but I don't know what perfect stillness we're talking about. He's talking about himself, like he's only found sorrow. Maybe there's a lot of regrets. Maybe there's like every time it gets quiet, then everything just floods in at him. I remember when I was part of that cult I was a part of, they were saying that like people can't sit in silence anymore, and that's because there's like just too much internal noise. And so when it gets quiet, like outside, like the inside dialogue and noise is too much, and so people can't do it. Like, so there's TVs, music, everything, stuff is always going. What? You disagree with that?
I mean, when has there ever been a time in history, really, when people were cool with silence? Like,
I like it. I like to go and sit in silence.
Yeah, but
what I'm saying is, like,
if you're disposed toward, not having it, because when it gets quiet, people start. I mean, me personally, when I get quiet, I start thinking about shit. And it's always stuff that goes bad. I never think about things that go good when I'm like in the quiet by myself. They had a kind of like Radiohead vibe to it, and Radiohead is kind of like
what they said.
Radiohead, huh?
Then that kind of fits what they said.
Yeah, Radiohead kind of has this like very like contemplative vibe to it.
Yeah,
and it's not really about hitting notes as much as it is like creating a certain kind of atmosphere where you kind of fill in your own blanks, which I appreciate to a degree. But I do think like some sort of lyrical direction where you can channel that sort of psychic energy would have been great. You see what I'm saying? Because like I don't really know what dude is saying, but like at the same time, it's one of those things where you can like fill in your own blank. I had a very strange relationship to this song. Like I don't have a lot to say about it lyrically.
How could you?
And
did you hear any of the words?
Obviously, the band like made a decision. I mean, how hard is it to put the lyrics up there? So, obviously, the band, it appears to me, made a cognitive decision. Okay, we're not gonna make lyrics easily accessible here.
Yeah, and interesting too. They turned all the comments off.
Right.
They probably didn't want to hear people saying lyrics.
Well, they're doing. I mean, right. So like that. They obviously want you to interface with their music in a certain kind of way.
Yep.
And I think like for me it's like there's two different versions of me relative to this song. There's one version of me that's like, yo, this song to me sounds like a bunch of people got in a room. They said, all right, we're going to hit play. We're going to play in this key, and whatever comes out of your hand or your mouth or whatever, like that's what we're playing with, and boom. And it looks like that's what it is to me. Like, it was just kind of like a jam session where everybody was putting their thing in and it doesn't really matter. Like, it sounded like one thing was on loop and then there are other things being added in. And I don't know if that's just not just like mega genius. Maybe it's like some Danny Carey shit where you're like playing two separate beats at the same time with the same drummer or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, you have to be taught to appreciate it, which, you know, our Tool fan, I mean, Tool on the other hand is like, that's what makes them so great, is that they'll do things that nobody does. But they do it and they package it in a way that a person with certain sensibilities can like latch onto it. And then later on you find out, well, you like this because Danny Carey is actually doing two beats at the same time in like opposite directions, which is insane. Like, I'm still trying to figure out
how.
Like, like, why would you, you know, like somebody sat down and like with a really devious mind and said, I'm going to do two things at once here. Like, that's crazy to me. But, so that was part of it. It's like, yo, maybe these guys are like 5 years ahead of their time and we're not smart enough to see it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And like, that part of me intrigued me, and then the other part of me is like, man, this is BS, bro. Like, this is just like, you got this thing on loop. Everybody's putting like contributing. Nobody's stuff is getting cut. Everybody's stuff is just being. It just looks like everything just got thrown into a giant, you know, stew. And you know, hey, we're just gonna do whatever. But on the other hand, it's like, it is good, like, contemplative music. Like, if you want to burn a couple hours and think about shit, it does that too. So it's a weird, it depends on what version of me you're seeing.
Yeah, I think, I agree. Like, when the song first started, I turned it down a little bit. I was like, oh no. But then it kind of was like growing on me. And, you know, by the end, I would say by the end, it won me over. But I would say that, like, I've been thinking about music differently lately and not thinking about music as a lot of times I use music as like the bath to hold my emotions that I currently feel in. But I'm actually thinking about music as like something that transports you to another place. So I'm trying to use music as a way to get myself to the type of energy or the space that I want to be in, not necessarily the space that I am in. So for me, this song, like, I'm trying to get away from the type of music that I just like can marinate in the things that are like, that bother me or make me sad or that I have regrets about or things that I can't change or whatever. So I think that this song, if I sat down with this song in like the sort of silence, but just this song, I feel like I would just start feeling like sad and depressed and whatever. So I'm trying to stay away from this style. But I definitely,
it's definitely one of those. And like, you're almost psychically prepared for it because it's like, in the stillness I feel sorrow or whatever. So you're almost like prepped by the
by the title,
you know,
to already feel sorry, you know, sorrowful or sorrow.
I don't know if confused is the right word. I'm divided about the song. Like, it's a very interesting song, but I feel like it's actually like 3 months from now I'm going to be listening to this at 3:48 at some strange witching hour.
Yeah, I mean.
So I'm very. I don't really know how to feel about the song. It's a very strange song. The other thing that I noticed is that the to your point, the band has like 35 subs or something like that.
Yeah,
so I don't know if this is like Negative Vibes is like side project of a band that, you know, he didn't want to pay the. You know what I'm saying? Like the premium for the... You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a local band.
You could have just told me it's your band, bro. Like, it's your birthday. I'd have worked something out for you, man. You have to do this shit. Hey, shout out to Kellendross. This is going to be such a weird score. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, you know, for me, definitely went back and forth, but I think in the end of it, I think it's a 9.3. I'm surprised I'm giving it a 9.3, even as the words came out of my mouth.
Okay, this is the only split score I've ever given on the channel. There's one part of my consciousness that gives this a 2, and there's another part of of my consciousness that gives this a 9. So, this is literally the first time this has ever happened to me in a recording. I just don't know what to do with it. I don't know where to go with it. Partly because a big thing, it was a really risky song, like whoever selected it, because like
Negative.
Everybody knows how I am with the lyrics. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I couldn't go somewhere with the lyrics, like the review's a lot shorter, which is also upsetting me a little bit, because I feel like he actually said some shit.
I know.
Whoever you are in the band, I'm going to email
guy.
you. Look, respond to me. I will not tell the world what the actual lyrics are, but respond to me, okay? Because I do believe...
Him.
Me! I do believe this is probably going to end up in my rotation, because I have certain songs that are like top secret that end up in my rotation.
Yeah, when this song like was going and he was like really singing it and stuff, I was like, sounds like something that you would play for sure. So, all right, well, there you have it, a 9.3.
Well, that, and I have Middle. Middle also likes it. So that's one of my gauges. Like, if I'm like, yo, am I crazy here? I look around at Middle. 99% of the time, Middle's like, yeah, that's just trash, bro. But Middle really likes the song, so I got to go with it. But I'm not sure. I was emailing the main songwriter from the band to try to get his lyrics since, like, April. He kept saying, yeah, I'll get them, but I'm busy making new music. Come on!
Boo!
Boo! Boo to the
Well, I don't know how many times your music gets reacted to, but this guy was trying to set you up.
He's
so
trying
you
to
can
set
have
you up, bruh.
a real legitimate reaction here. But
all right, so it got the first ever split score. I don't know if you guys know this, but we are inhabited by multiple consciousnesses, dear listener. Yeah, go ahead.
If I was going to split score it, I would give it a 3 and a 9.3.
Why you always copy it from me, though? Like, can't you come up with your own thing?
What do you mean come up with your own thing?
Like, I come up with all these, like, unique
that,
scores and things like that, and then you always have your own little thing that you use to steal, to thief. But, you know, it's part of your DNA. It's part of your culture.
Because I've never given 2 scores before?
It's part of your culture. What can you guys just go and steal
this is the way I'm treated. What was the thing? Blink your eyes. Sorry, what?
That's right. All the dudes on the stallions.
Yeah. Where
on
are
the
my white
steeds.
knights?
Go and help this white woman in distress. Bizarro Vin says it's a 2. How do I request a song for the future? Go through Middle Earth. Middle Earth knows how to request songs. We will be on the other side of the break, dear listener. Vin out!
Story out.
Go! 3 is the correct answer, Soraya. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, we are in the midst of the storm in, I was going to say Africa, Florida.
Yep.
But we just missed you beautiful people so much that we decided we were going to brave it. And it looks like everything is good. We're not going to get electrocuted through the thingamajiggy. So the show must go on, dear listener. Our little village
All right.
needs the participation.
That means click the like button, especially
like
if you
button.
are on the Rumble side,
Yeah,
because
if
if
you're
we
on the
can
Rumble
get
side.
double digits of likes or dislikes, whatever suits your fancy, then we're going to run that contest. The points have been adding up on Patreon and shall continue.
Shout out to the big
until,
homie Kellandros and Ian and everybody in Florida, man, in the South. My homie went, he left where he was, fled to somewhere else, and then they got hit worse over there in Georgia
Oh, no.
than here, yeah. So we hunkered down. We bought a bunch of water and shit. Like, we were ready to...
I bought a lot of water, and I kept asking everybody in the store. I was like, how bad this going to be?
We
What
were
should
ready
we do?
to do jihad against the elements, but, you know, they didn't want no smoke. They didn't want no smoke.
We are here.
All right,
All right,
the poll this
Boogie.
next track won was a really fun one, according to Negative Vibes. We will consider that or not, Mr. Negative
Sin
Vibes.
and Glory's Boogie Nights winner. Typo negative. I don't want to be me.
I don't
The
wanna
comments,
be me.
Neil's theme, songs that make you want to boogie, which I shortened to Boogie Nights for convenience. Had members submit songs that make them in the mood for dancing. The winner song, Typo Negative's I Don't Want to Be Me, that's an interesting song title for something that makes you want to dance. Is such a song for Lost Hate, who submitted the pick. The song is from Typo Negative's 2003 album Life Is Killing Me. Contrary to the gothic metal and doom metal style of the band's other songs, I Don't Want to Be Me is often considered a punk rock song. Okay, well, let's check it out. And look, we have lyrics.
All right, here we go. Typo Negative, I don't want to be me. I don't want to be me. Let's do it. You got the lyrics?
Yep.
I don't wanna be me. I don't wanna be me anymore.
I actually like this song.
Yeah, me too.
And that was that.
That was an interesting ending.
Everybody keeps saying it's a fun song. I mean, God, that's a pretty heavy one, wasn't it?
Well,
Saying
lyrically,
he doesn't wanna be-
yeah,
he doesn't wanna be-
lyrically. But if you don't look at the lyrics and you just go by the feel of the song, it was like pretty upbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't look that good to me. I mean, he was talking about going with, his funeral, his wake, whatever.
Yeah, the lyrics, that part was
Franz
sad,
says, the song is about his desire to get out of the music industry and to go back to the humdrum life, but he can't. And if he can't be happy, and if he can't escape the music industry, basically be happy, because when he died, he finally escaped, is the idea. But, yeah, I mean, that's a...
I think, like... Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that a lot of people just listen to a song by how it makes them feel. They don't, dive into the lyrics and go all like that into it. I think that people listen to stuff and just experience it. I mean, so I think if you took the lyric... I mean, I was a little surprised by the lyrics as well. I mean, some of it I can kind of...
Yeah, I mean, like I said...
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I mean,
please
2
speak.
steps forward, 3 steps back. Without warning, heart attack. He fell asleep in the snow, never woke up. He died alone.
Yeah, damn. Yeah.
I got people that went out that way. So it's interesting to see, like, people's reaction to that stuff. And it's also interesting, especially in our community, like, there seems to be a big primer, or it seems a lot of us have the same sort of pathology relative to, like, self-rejection. People don't like what they see in the mirror, etc., etc. Especially in the metal community, where you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say that you don't like your own image and things like that. So there's, like, a real primer on being honest about self-rejection.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're like, well, we're not going to conform to what everybody says. So, and so it's weird. It's like, on the one hand, like, in our community, it's like, on the one hand, where everybody's walking around with, like, this internalized self-rejection. And then on the other hand, we're projecting out to the world that we're so accepting of ourselves that we're willing to stay with our integrity to, quote, be ourselves, to the contradiction of everybody around us, so much so that we'll be alone. But then when you're alone, you self-reject. So it's a very interesting, like, contradiction that happens when you're part of this subculture in the metal communities. Is you're telling the outside world. It's almost like you agree with the outside world in rejecting you, but you've got that cognitive dissonance. So you're projecting to the outside world, I don't agree, I'm myself, rah. But then at the same time, it's like, well, I kind of agree. You know what I mean? So it's a very interesting conundrum that we find ourselves in.
And people are complex. Like, I was thinking about that the other day, that they couldn't create an AI that was like a human being because they would shut the machine down, because we're contradictions. We're literally, like, you feel one thing so intensely and you can feel the opposite way about the same situation. Like, if any machine was like that, people would be like, this is useless. We can't do this. We need it to just do one thing. So, but yeah, this song, when he's talking about, I don't want to be me, I think that, like, you're right. I think, like, a lot of people have that sort of, and there's always something there, like, they'll talk about people that go in and they have, like, they'll literally cut their bodies to change them.
Yeah.
And then once they do that, then they go, like, it's not enough. They need to go cut something else and change something else, because the improvement of one thing sheds light on the other areas that didn't have so much attention before. So it can just kind of be like a trap. And I don't know, like, contentment, I think, is something that you have to. It's an internal thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that we all kind of face times where we feel like, you know, I remember hearing somebody when I was a kid say, it was an adult. And it was so weird to hear it because I couldn't believe that they were saying it. And now that I'm an adult, like, you know, I get it. But like, they would be like, I can't stand my own face right now. I can't stand my own face.
Yeah. It's odd, especially to like people who are somewhat public people. It's a very strange kind of situation to be in. And like the but at the same time, like when I look specifically at Peter Steele, it's like, what do you mean we don't want to be you? Like, what are you talking about?
He didn't say we don't want to be him. He said he doesn't want to be him.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of like it's always that kind of contradiction of like, how could you not want to be you when I'm assuming all you've ever wanted to do was play guitar and sing, and now that's all you do, and now somehow that dream has gotten so bad that death is your only escape from the dream that you had as a kid growing up. Like, it doesn't really point to a lot of like hope for the future. If like you could accomplish like your highest dream, and then the only thing you could say about it at the end is like, just be happy for me at the funeral because I escaped my dream. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, no, I think that's
but like everybody is coming at this from all these different kinds of conclusions. I was having a conversation with God about it a couple nights ago, and it was about like being afraid of ultimate success or ultimate goals. Like, I do think like one of the few things I'm probably afraid of is like that kind of success, because like I know, especially me personally, like I know I will not be happy, but I won't have anything to say, well, if I had this, I had this, you know what I'm saying? So it's like sitting and holding back and not making that next turn that has to be made, because like I've always kind of appreciated the struggle. I think I've always liked the struggle, and it's always like given me a lot of gravity, like to stay on the earth. I'm not sure what life looks like when you don't have certain kinds of like things to attain to. And I do think like for the first time in my life, like I'm in situations where I'm like, I'm not sure really what to do, as far as, because like before it was like, I got to do this, these people did this, I'm going to do this, me and my boys, we're going to make this right, you know, whatever, and you know, you could die doing it, and it's fun, and oh, I'm going to affect my community in a certain way, so we're going to do this, you know what I'm saying? Like I always had some like big project to justify my existence, and like doing those things and like being done with them and having accomplished them to whatever degree, and being able to look back and be like, yo, I did that. Like, people are going to be reading about that for years, and it's going to be about me, and then I'm going to know, but it was me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But I still, like, it's like, you did all that shit, like, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it was a very, very interesting conversation, and I thought to myself, I was saying to God, like, only you know this about, like, this, like, because it was a really complex discussion. So, yeah, I thought it was a very, very interesting song. So then I listened to this song, and I'm like, yo, like, that's absolutely in play for sure.
Okay, I just have to ask you.
I'm only being semi-serious here, Viv, but the next time you have a conversation with him, can you please stop telling him to stop tossing hurricanes at us? That's a funny story. There was a hurricane about 2 or 3 years ago that was about to make landfall, and I was in like this atheist chat, and they were making fun of these Christians. This. All these Christians showed up at the shore, and they all had their hands out, and they said, "We're praying in Jesus' name for this thing to, you know, skip over us, because, you know, it was projected about 24 to 36 hours, about to touch down." And so all these atheists were mocking these Christians, whatever, and they're like, "Hey, Vin, you know, here are your people." And they wanted me to be like, and I was like, God might listen to them. Those are my people. Like, I don't care. Like, There's a bunch of old, white evangelicals probably believe that Israel is the end times, key. I don't care. Like, those are our people. You know what I'm saying? Well, it turned out that the hurricane did skip that specific area. Mm-hmm. So I swooped back in and I said, hey, atheists! Me and Johnny Haas are like, hey, atheists! Yep. You guys, they were laughing hard, It was like Muhammad when he said he made the night journey, And I said, hey, what happened? Yeah. Whatever. They're like, oh, shut up! You don't know anything about, wind patterns and whatever, you idiot Christians. This has nothing to do with the song. 9.5, I really, really enjoyed the song.
9.7 for me.
Hunter was there. I remember that, Vin. Hunter was there. Hunter remembers. Oh, man, that was hilarious. Shout out to all my atheists in the house. I was like, yeah, you guys are going to give it up to the Most High now. All right. They all got saved after that. Because, that's all they needed, a little bit of evidence.
They just needed the evidence. That's all.
All right. We will be back. The night has not finished. It has not even begun. You losing loser who loses. I gave this song a 9.5.
I gave it a 9.7.
There you are, dear listener.
Silver Bullet is up next. We'll be right back.
Silver Bullet is up next. We'll be right back. I'm Vin. That's Sorry.
And we are on a break.
We are on a break, you losing losers. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them. To buy our merch.
To buy our merch. Oh, man.
I don't wanna be me.
Absolute chaos here.
I don't want to be me.
All right, you guys.
He just want to be him. Something that rhymes with be him. I'm not going to say it because it's going to be crazy. Sorry, go ahead. Stop being lazy. Talk to the people. I'm looking
Can
crazy.
I start it? Will you stop me, maybe?
Can I rap?
Silver
I don't know, they call
Bullet.
me Jay-Z.
Ah, very good, very good. Okay, Silver Bullet, the Chalice and the Blade is up next. This is the Epic Underground, whose leader is Archero.
Archero in this bitch!
Shout out to Archero!
Shout out to Archero in this bitch!
Yep. This is the winner of the Epic Underground's literal rock and metal poll. There's a funny backstory to this one.
I don't want to be me.
I've been known to get up... I have been known to get up some... Babe, may I speak? I'm speaking. Is that what she said? Kamala?
Speak about me.
I'm speaking. I've been known to get up to some April Fool's Day shenanigans with our alliance. This year, I made an announcement that we would do a poll for a, quote, metal bands. In other words, rather than focusing on a metal genre, the bands themselves would have some form of metal in their names. I suggested people consider Steely Dan, or Nickelback as options. I thought to myself that this joke was too silly and that no one was going to fall for it. Well, as it turned out, a lot of people really liked the idea, and we're sorry we weren't really doing it. So I figured, why not? And the joke became reality. Hence, literal rock and metal, where all poll submissions were bands with some kind of metal or rock in their name. The winner was Finnish power metal band Silver Bullet and was chosen by Misery Biz. This track also features guest female vocals by Capri Von... can you say her last name? Right.
Vorkunen.
From the band...
Amberian Dawn.
Okay, let's check it out. I already sent you the lyrics.
Amberian Dawn.
Let's hear.
All right, I will be the judge of Amberian Dawn, dear listener.
We shall be the judge of that.
Here we go. Silver Bullet, Chalice and the Blade. Let's do this. Okay. High production. Now they opening up. You wanted metal! You got metal! Okay, that end was pretty disturbing. Power metal.
Was she saying, "Let me out of here"?
Yeah, power metal generally doesn't have the like spooky shit at the end, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, the song itself was. I haven't seen the sun for days. Only flames of their torches.
Yeah.
It sounded like the witch trials.
Yeah. I think that's where they were going. That was kind of like the vibe. And then when
Yeah.
you look at the picture, it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you see
was
the
it?
picture on the thing. Like
No, I didn't.
it's like the let me see, Chalice and the Blade. If you go in there,
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, like there she is right there. You know,
Yeah,
like she's about to get
interesting.
burned at the stake.
Yeah, but
Take a screenshot of the picture. I'll send it to everybody.
okay.
I forgot who I was having that conversation with. I think it was Joshua when they were talking about, you know, Puritans killed X amount of witches, and then he said something to the effect of, they were not killing witches, they were killing women they couldn't control,
Yeah.
or something like that. I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty.
That's
that was pretty on point.
Yeah. When you
But
think about
but
like,
yeah, you can see it right here.
like when you look at the like
That's
incels.
the album. That's the album cover.
Yep. When you think of incels, like if all those people would have had power to burn these women at the stake, they would absolutely do it. That's why they're going in, you know, the yoga places and doing all these things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like at a real, obviously, I mean, the name of the record is Moon Cult. But, like, it is weird, like, the almost fear and terror of female sexuality and the inability for men to control that kind of energy. And, you know, it's something where women definitely have the upper hand. And then when you put religious sort of pathologies on top of it, it gets extremely dangerous to where the woman becomes demonized for simultaneously being so beautiful that they're the source of temptation. And instead of saying, like, okay, we've got to control ourselves, we find some way to continue to harm or villainize or, in this case, really demonize the women that we...
Yeah.
Haven't seen the sun for days. Only flames of their
Well, it's
torches.
interesting because we've been in church culture for a while, and like I don't know if it's still like a thing, but there was like this whole like movement about yoga pants. You're gonna, you know, listeners probably be like, "What? What do you mean yoga pants?" But like where women shouldn't wear yoga pants in church, and you know how horrible or bad it was.
1,000 comment thread discussions about yoga pants.
Yeah. Like really intense, and what it came down to again was just, you know, here you have these guys that weren't able to control their lust in church, and so they want to like make the woman wear something that will help them, you know, not get control of their own self. But yeah, so it's they don't have the power to burn them at the stake, but
They would if
like,
they could.
Like, think about it. Like, just think about what that means. This is a man that is not married to a woman, and he's trying to tell this woman what she can wear and what she can't wear.
Yeah.
But they have a problem with, like, there's judgment for, you know, the Muslims or something, you know what I mean? For, like, putting there. But it's like, well, I mean, you're just doing you're doing some other version of it. And like, to put that on the woman that, you know, you're not controlling yourself. But I think that that's a prison all in and of itself, because if you put the blame on somebody else for your own issue, then you're not going to get, that issue is not going to get resolved. Because you're always going to be able to point at the other person and be like, well, it's because she wore those pants. Well, her skirt was too short. But all the while, part of your mental capabilities are being taken up with just lustful desire that impedes other thoughts you could be having.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting sort of... And she says, alone in this chamber, a nightmare to remember, how could I decide to live or to die?
Yeah.
The chalice and the blade, the fuel of fire supplied, burned by the lie, the chalice and the blade.
Chained and summoning, swinging back and forth.
Yeah, and like... See, to me, it's like, if you're in a situation, people are shooting at you, and you instinctively shoot back, like, that's one thing. Being an executioner, to me, is a completely different set of mental sort of hurdles to jump through. Because everybody talks about, like, the Green Mile, or that long walk that you have to take to go to your death. And nobody thinks about what the mental aspect is for the person who has to be the one to kill the person walking the Green Mile. Like, nobody thinks about that and that anticipation. And there's a sense in which that's almost worse, because at least, you know, if the Green Mile is for you, you take one long walk and it's over with. But if you're an executioner, you've had to take that walk a bunch of times. Like, that is a completely different set of, like, traumas and things to have to deal with, and things that you have to do inside in order to gin up all the you know, woo-woo you're going to need to go off and take another human life like that. That's a lot different than somebody shooting at you and you shoot back at him, and, you know, you just end up getting the better of that exchange. Now, this is, if you want to talk about malice aforethought, I mean, and then on top of that, as an executioner, everybody knows that you did it. You know what I'm saying? Especially back in the day, it was like a little Hamlet or whatever. Like, you knew, like, yo, that dude is out here killing
I thought
folks.
that's the reason they stood out there with a bag over their head.
Yeah, you stand over there with the bag over your head or all the rest of it, but everybody knows who it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody was in our little town in Lewiston, and they was part of our little community circle, they put a bag over their head, but they went to go execute somebody, we'd know who it was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
then what's the point in putting the bag over their head?
Well, it's to be able to do it in the action itself. Like, it's a disassociative principle. It's the same thing that happens with people in you know, that wear military uniforms, and you get de-individuated.
Well, you know what's interesting?
So that you could function as a collective.
It's interesting because a human being is made in the image and likeness of God, and you essentially, like, put another image over you when you're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really crazy thing to do. So it's like, and then on top of that, it's like, you're gonna burn somebody alive, and then on top of that, like, you're gonna do that to a woman as a man. Like, it's just, there's so many layers of, like, you should not do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, and when people bring it up, like, unbelievers bring it up, like, I think, like, we're way too, like, dismissive. Like, oh, yeah, I mean, you know, the Bible didn't say to do that, and they weren't really following Jesus. It's like, I know they weren't following Jesus, but they were still our team.
Yeah.
Like it's still, and that is something unique to us. Like, the secularists, look, I've already talked about how horrible the secularists are, and how horrible secularists are to women and children. But that particular brand of evil was uniquely ours in the history of this country.
Yes.
So, like,
yeah.
the Christian response to me to that, because we're always in apologetics mode, we're always trying to defend God or whatever. Like, I know God did not tell the Puritans to do that, but I don't care. They still represented the church, and you cannot say that those were not Christians that did that.
Right.
You can say they were being on Christ, like, of course.
Yeah.
But you cannot say, and so, like, I think that's one of the reasons why, like, now it's so easy for us to support the death penalty. It's because we're so lax on, well, look what we specifically have done. Not the Muslims. Not the, you know, Muslims got problems, I'm sure, but Western Muslims have never set anybody on fire for being a witch, like, at an institutional level. One crazy somewhere, fine. But, like, this was institutionalized. Like, you could systemically do this shit to people. So, like, yeah, I just think that we're, like, way too quick to, like, overlook that. And because of that, we're not as hesitant as we should be when it comes to war, which is another form of incinerating people alive. When it comes to people dying in the border and things of that nature. Like, I don't want to get too crazy and political. I'm just talking about morality in the light of history of this country, because the witch trials were not that long ago, relatively speaking. And so for me, it's like, I want to look at all those episodes, those horrible episodes of Christian history, especially bad episodes of Christian history in the relative recent West.
Yeah.
Because that mentality is most responsible for the good and the ill. I mean, we're talking about this in the Bible Boogie. There are two major documents in the Western world that changed everything. One was the Magna Carta, which was inspired in a complete Christian milieu, and the people who penned the Magna Carta explicitly stated that. Mm-hmm. And the other is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, which was the extension of it, which starts out by saying, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed with inalienable rights given to them by their Creator, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. The rights of the governed over the governed, blah, blah, blah. But, like, So we can't say, hey, Christians can't, that's a logical outgrowth of Christianity. Or we say, hospitals, St. Mary's, there's a logical outgrowth of Christianity that's unique to us. Okay, so was witch burning.
Yeah.
Witch burning was something that came out of a Christian worldview that is unique to us in the particular milieu that we're in currently. And if we don't look long and hard, if we're worried about atheists on the internet rightly calling us out on it, and so we're gonna detract from the horrors of that we took part in institutionally and correctly, collectively, it will then blind us the next time that we're on the way to participating in something that horrible while simultaneously feeling good about it. So for me, like we got to look at this stuff directly in the face, because if we did, I don't think we would be as lackadaisical about, I'm talking about the Christian voting bloc. I don't think we'd be as lackadaisical as we are about war. I don't think we'd be as lackadaisical about police brutality and all these other things. I do think if we really took a long, hard, got to know the names of these women and the stories of these women and what we did to them, like, I think that would be really, really helpful for where we are right now. I think it would, and again, this is also the part where your emotions, people always say, that's an argument from emotion, it's a fallacy. Argument from emotion is only fallacious when it is in contradiction to actual stated facts, or if it is the only platform you're using wherein to make your argument. But it is not incorrect to say we need to stop and listening to the screams of terror and torture and pain of these women as they were dying, and then the ramification of what that looks like. Because I've seen a person go from being a whole normal person to enduring being burned to death, and what it looks like afterward. To see that, hear that, smell that, feel that, horrible exercise to endure, but will make you a lot more sensitive to not taking part in doing that in the future. And for the life of me, I can't understand why that's so difficult. Like, we have to beat all the atheists in the argument. Like, we have to win every argument. If they say, if your Bible's so good, why did you guys burn witches? Eat it. They're right. Yeah. Like, they're right. We shouldn't have done that. And our looking so quickly away from it is a reason why we're completely comfortable with incinerating little Gazan children. Like, we had to kill our own conscience toward our own people first. Right? Like, we had to do that to slaves. We had to do that to women. We completely decimated our own conscience toward our own people that we were oppressing. And so it spreads injustice everywhere. And so, like, if we're going to take part, we can't be responsible for what the secularists do. They're going to do what they're going to do. But, and the secularists are never going to admit the obvious problems with their religion, philosophy, and the implementation therein in the world. They're not going to admit that, and that's okay. But we can't be like that.
That's right. No, we can't.
You set people on fire until they died, bro. Like, we are horrible for that. You know?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's so interesting that even Christians do that, because we know that all of us are sinners. And so we shouldn't be surprised if we look at our history and see that, hey, we didn't get it right and people died. Mm-hmm. So, like, you think that we wouldn't, like, try to cover it up and be like, well, that wasn't us, or make excuses for it or whatever. You're just...
Yeah. There is no excuse after the printing press, etc. And Christians could read the Bible on our own. Right. Paul himself preached to witches, and they themselves cast their books down. He didn't burn them. Right. The witches in the New Testament burned their own
Right.
books.
Yeah.
We didn't go in there and destroy everybody's
Can you qualify
stuff.
that?
What about it?
Well, I'm sure that's where it came from, right?
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I mean, look,
This is in Exodus.
the Old Testament penology also said that you should execute adulterers. They were not executing adulterers back in the
That's true.
the days of the Puritans.
It also
They
said
they never
your
said,
rebellious kids or something like
yeah,
that.
they never said, and again, it's like, why is this passage where we have like one or two examples of witches, and then the one example of a witch we do see in the Old Testament, she was not stoned to death. She was not killed, and God did not say, you should kill her.
Yeah.
She was allowed to live. But there are lots of adulterers that God killed in the Bible. So it's like, okay, if the emphasis is on men, keep your junk in your pants, why are we erecting this entire institution on witch burning? You'd get a lot more traction with killing the adulterers. But again, they're related. Because if I have an adulterous spirit towards you, I could just say it's because of your witchly charms, and that's the other reason we need to set you on fire. So, like, the passage doesn't move me. Like, I don't care what passage they had to justify doing what they were doing. Even if they wanted to pretend like Jesus never showed up and died on the cross, that's fine. We can live in the Old Testament economy. If we're in the Old Testament economy, why aren't you setting these adulterous men on fire and these dudes committing all these sexual assaults on fire? That's my problem. So, like, if they were like completely saying we're going to institute Old Testament Sharia, cool.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's only implemented
we're
on
focused
this
on
one particular group of people, this one particular group of sin, and you don't even have the evidence for it.
Right.
Because all the various horrible things that they did to people to test out whether they were witches could not be found in the scripture. So, like, it's just all around, and I don't care that it couldn't be found in the scripture. Christians still did it. That's my point. I don't care whether it's biblical or not. I don't care. I know it wasn't. I know it was on Christ-like, but we still did it, and we're still doing it literally right now. That's my issue. I don't need to make God or the Bible, I don't need to like run PR for them. Mm-hmm. Like, if God and the Bible is true, like, then we can say everything.
Yeah.
And that's why the scripture says he's not ashamed to call us brothers.
Yeah.
And the reason it has to come out and affirm that is because he should be. He should be, but he's not. And so, if this Christianity thing is really right, that means that God has a place for the witch that was burned. And even if she was genuinely a witch, she was probably the only person in there that understood God's creation well enough to get your kid out of the mumps and measles or whatever the fuck was going on back then, that thankfully we had the pagans and all the other people that were figuring out how to do medicine for us so that we all didn't die of superstition and the other dumb shit we were doing running around there. Like, God is big enough to handle that. And if he's not, then quit the team. Just quit the team. If you can't handle these critics, then quit the team. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this one a 9.4. I don't like power metal at all, but I did like the metal. Somebody said something relative to like Megadeth, and I agree. Like, the metal was really, really, really metal. Like, power metal itself has its own kind of brand of metal, which to me is not really metal-y, but this one really felt like grimy, dirt under your fingers, Dave Mustaine type riff energy out in the garage.
Yeah,
somewhere.
but don't you think the female vocals put it over the edge? She was very theatrical.
There's another band that has female vocals in it, and the riffs are not what I would consider metal riffs. Okay, and that band, like, they're, yeah.
9.4 for me.
Where today are Christians burning witches and adulterers? We're not. We're burning little Gazan children, and a lot of the justification for burning little Gazan children are theological and uniquely rooted in what people are calling Christianity. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is the reason we're so fine with hearing about firebombing and incinerating Gazan children is because all of our forefathers in the apologetics world have spent a lot of time dismissing the horrors of what was done to people in these episodes in history. And because we've been insulated from them, we have no problem with doing it again and again and again in different iterations of people. So that's what I meant.
I know when they talked to us about what was going on, literally we were told that, and again, you guys, I was in a cult, so we didn't have the news ourselves. We didn't have the internet, none of that stuff. So you just had to go, why you were being told. I should have known that. Oh my gosh. This is sounding so bad as I'm saying it out loud. Okay, anyway. But they were saying that, like, I had this understanding that Israel was like this small plot of land, and that people from all sides kept trying to snatch away that land from them, but that God was protecting them, and that they were able to keep that little plot of land. And we never heard anything about them going all over the place, killing people, taking over people's property. None of that was said. It was just, here's poor Israel just fighting for all it's worth, and people just keep attacking them, but God is protecting them overall. Like, I think that that's part of the reason that the entire thing over there is so frustrating to me, is that, like, you had that thing playing the other day, and I was like realizing, like, because of how old that video was, like, you were talking about it was just crazy, man.
That it was still going on.
That it's just still happening. Like,
yeah.
We're just, and it's worse. It's just so, I can't believe it. And it's like watching Christians support it with their Facebook posts, like, so dismissive of the suffering of the Palestinian people simply because they're not Jews.
In America, witches were not typically burned at the stake. Typically, they were hanged, which is also not good. But it's important info to know. We've got one more song coming for you beautiful people.
Yep, we'll be right back with Hath.
Oh my God, can you imagine this? We definitely need to have a whole stream of progressive power metal for Vin. Because in theory, that would be the worst nightmare. Can you imagine progressive where they add all the extra shit for no reason? Like, here's this 9-minute guitar run. Look at all these sweeps. They have nothing to do with the song. There's no lexical or sonic relevance whatsoever. But look at this 9-minute sweep. I went to Juilliard.
Hunter, yeah, it was a college that considered themselves Christian, but they actually they weren't Pentecostal, they said non-denominational was a denomination, so they weren't that. They didn't fit in any categories. It's just when you start, like, laying everything out and you're like, this is very cultish.
Yeah, she was in a cult for sure.
Oh man,
for sure.
Yep. Shout out to the sleep paralysis.
I will check up on that book. I will get that book tonight. Jerusalem, the biography by Simon Sebag Montefiore.
Did we ever have that book?
I don't know.
That looks so familiar. I swear my mother had it. Okay. All right, you guys. Are we taking a break?
We've got one more
right
song. We're going to go right into it. The name of the band is Hath. We Hath one more song. I see what you did there. Sorry for that long review, guys. Sorry for the long review.
I don't know what
we
to
haven't
do.
been we haven't been time stamping these things.
I was just gonna say Ben didn't remind me, so I'm gonna blame you, Ben.
Oh no. Hath is progressive black and death metal. So here, oh my God, they've ruined my black metal. They have ruined my black metal.
All right, let's
ahead.
see.
Go ahead.
Hath.
How dare you? How dare you?
What is this? Usurpation?
Usurpation.
Usurpation.
Oh my God.
Hath is a progressive black and death metal band from New Jersey formed in 2014. They've released 2 albums of Rot and Ruin from 2019, from which is the song, from which this song is from, and All That Was Promised 2022, which was one of my end of the year picks of 2022. Also, knowing their popularity within this community, I had to have one of their songs on my playlist. Luckily, this time they got through, and you will be able to hear them for the first time.
For the first time! Shout out to all my beautiful people on Twitter. Shout
out to Helen Dross.
Helen Dross. All right, guys.
Extreme Underground.
Usurpation. This is by Helen Dross. Black metal. Let's do it. Let's
go.
Why does it have to be black metal, Finn?
You know why.
Racism. You got those lyrics?
I already sent them.
Lakshmi. This is it? Drummer's crazy.
Yeah,
That shit was hard. I just want to hear that last singy part again. Just give me a second. Give me a second. When he started singing.
That sound was so like positive. when he was singing that part.
Gojira-ish. Gojira-ish.
Ish.
We just there was a show with Spirit Box, Gojira, and Korn. I'm
Yep.
so caught
But
up in life, I forgot. Next time
we're out here
around.
battling hurricanes instead.
Yes, next time around. That wasn't proggy. That was like Gojira. Is Gojira? They're trying to say that was prog. Is Gojira prog then? Huh? All
I
right.
can see how it could be considered prog.
Yeah, of course you're going to say that because you never support me with these people. You're always on their side.
I can't have an opinion of my own, I guess.
That doesn't matter. You marry the white girl, she's still going to agree with her people at the end of the day. Don't matter. She's going to go with the white man. Slaves to the curse, rotting away. No memory.
This happened to me once before. As long as I agreed with a certain party, I was thinking for myself. The minute I disagreed, they were like, listen, you're in danger.
That's right.
You mean when I was listening to you, I wasn't, though?
But you are. You are something.
It's very dangerous. Protect the planet, sir.
What did you say? Protect the planet?
Protect the planets. All right, so let's listen to this.
All I can say about that is, yep. All right. Slaves to the curse.
Rotting away.
No memory to sustain.
It was so depressing. Everything ends. Drifting further from life. Embers will fade.
Embers will fade.
Embers. Yeah, embers will fade. In the pantheon of old, I'll find my place. I'll ascend to snuff the light, usurping the fire. What rises may fade.
Smart line.
Which one? Usurping the fire?
I will ascend to snuff the light, usurping the fire. So the name of the song is Usurpation. You like take over something that you're not supposed to have.
Yeah.
And he's talking about basically turning off the sun, essentially. I will ascend to snuff the light, usurping the fire.
Yeah, well.
So that, to me, I'm looking at that as he's
I feel like there's some days...
He's blocking out the sun.
I feel like there's some days you would wish to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like when Dorian was in Alaska, I was like extremely jealous. It's like 6 months of nothing but darkness.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I would love that.
I feel claustrophobic.
I can't believe that Alaska is not the capital of metal. For that reason. I mean, where else can you go where it's going to be dark for 6 months out of the year?
Yeah, but then you also have like 6 months of all light. And I think that's probably like, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's problematic.
Yeah. So.
All that light is very, very problematic. That's for sure. I wonder how you do like Christianity in church and shit like that. Like
in the dark.
Hey, everybody, it's dark every day for the next 6 months. I mean, I would love it, but I don't think you would.
No, I would not. I feel like I would cry a lot.
This band would fit the
darkness.
lineup at the local festival I partook of this weekend.
Of course.
But you told us that you didn't listen to you didn't see any of these songs live.
He just said it would have fit. In other words.
Oh, it would have fit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We didn't catch him then.
But I mean, still. He's always going to
lyrically,
shows.
this song is dark as hell, bro.
Yeah. What rises? Go ahead.
Well, the Pantheon is kind of like where you have a whole...
The gods.
A council of gods.
Yeah.
And so it's like... he's in the pantheon, and he's going to go out there and usurp the sun god, I'm assuming.
Ra.
Ra. There's a whole bunch of names. The brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow. Such is the way. Free from death, left to wander forever, inherit the fire. That's a good line.
Which one?
The brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow.
Yeah.
Like, that's being a person who's, like, for whatever reason, gets to see people when they meet Jesus. That's, like, one of the things where I would always know when it was real. Is when a person would come to me, like, weeks later and be like, yo, I suck really bad as a person. Because what was happening was, they were starting, as you read more and more about Jesus, and you start trying to walk that way, and then you like read his confrontations with people and how he engaged people, the brighter he begins to shine. You're like, oh wow, Jesus was better than I thought he was. But then at the same time, they're like, I'm farther away from where I should be than I realized. So the brighter the sun, the deeper the shadow, in the sense that they were always that dark, and they were actually darker than they realized, but because they were around other darklings, they didn't realize how dark they were until they got contrasted with
the light,
the actual light.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where it's like, it really began to confuse me, like, relative to, like, judging other people and people genuinely feeling like they were better than other people. Because I'd be like, okay, here's this person who's literally 2 weeks old and is doing amazing, doing great things, and feels like they're the worst person in the world because they're comparing themselves to Christ. Mm. Even though we've seen in very short order they're changing their entire life. Shit, we didn't even have to tell them to change.
Yeah.
But then I got this person who's been a Christian for 20, 30 years, and they're completely judgmental, have no mercy whatsoever, and it's like, how?
And completely comfortable that way. Like,
how are you so comfortable, and then this person is, like, having this, and it's like, this person is having a real active, dynamic relationship with a living being, and you are looking at everything as a list of rules and then connecting your behavior to those rules, and if you check those boxes, you think you're good.
Yeah.
And it was just a very weird, like, counterintuitive phenomena where, like, these young Christians who were, in their 20s, which you're not supposed to, that block, you're not supposed to convert to any religion in your 20s. It's supposed to be when you're a child and then when you start having kids. That's when people are most open to religion. But your 20s, no way. And so I'm seeing all these people, 20-somethings, like, coming into religion, but they're extremely, like, self-conscious of, like, how good they are in comparison to the and then they had the assumption that everybody around them who'd been walking with Jesus for, like, a year before them, they thought, oh wow, they're real. You know what I'm saying? But then you had other people who'd been in the thing, born into the thing, and, like, didn't care, it's interesting. So that line right there, the brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow, is crazy. That's a crazy line.
Yeah.
Free from death, left to wander forever, and inherit the fire.
We used to talk about it like, Jesus said that Jesus is the light. Like, he's the light of the way. He like leads you, he guides you. It's like the way that light would function for somebody. But then when you come in relationship with Jesus, something's different. Like, when he's in your vicinity, and, like, it's you don't notice how dirty a room is until you turn the lights on. Then you can really see what's actually going on. And so I think that that's how we used to describe it, was, when you get the light, Jesus is the light of the world, it says, like, when he comes into your life, it starts shedding light on a lot of other things that you can see, where I think that people that have been Christians for a long time or whatever, and they've kind of, like, let that relationship kind of go to the side, and they're, like, just thinking that, like, they call themselves a Christian, but, like, are they really, like, are you still a metalhead if you never listen to any metal? And you don't know what's going on in the metal world, and you don't have any band shirts. Like, are you still a metalhead at that point? And I think that it's the same with Christianity.
That's a good point.
You're calling yourself a Christian, but what evidence is there that that you are. They used to say just like going to church on Sunday doesn't make you a Christian. Just like parking your car. What did they say? Going into a garage, parking yourself in the garage doesn't make you a car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like so. I wonder if there's some of that sort of going on too, where like you come into that. You start noticing there's stuff, like you said, the brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow. Like you start seeing what you're really made of. And also I think the other thing too is that like in one instance you only care really about like what you're doing and how it affects you or how it affects the people that you love. But then now you're in this other world where things are changing and you see things differently, and other things become important that maybe didn't seem so important before, and you start I don't know, you see the world differently. Anyway.
No, I really agree with that. It's a interesting. What rises may fade, the spread of the dark began, seeking its vessels, a flame would be its bane. The writhing ruin became bearing the curse, always searching, wanting for naught. This ghost in the mirror, a mockery, masquerading as a living thing. Woo!
Every pound of flesh, every bleeding wretch, all have failed before to harness the truth.
I am a vessel for the dead. Their secrets are the prizes I lust. Knowledge of demise from the minds of the wise we've lost, but we will soon see, for my faith lies in ruins.
When he did that ending, let the dark be cast upon the world, wasted. It did not sound like those are the words he was saying, and it had such a rising action to it. Like it was so crazy.
Yeah, I don't really know what this has to do with anything, but my God. Vin, could you imagine the spiritual feeling of Gregorian chants in an Orthodox church during the dark of Alaska? Candles lit and all that shit.
It's over with for you.
Nothing but Gregorian chants.
I might as well kiss you goodbye now.
Gregorian chants in the hoodies with the candles and the infinite dark. Like, forget it. You guys would never see me. You would never see me, wallah. It'd be over with. Yeah, this is a really, really good song. It's interesting. In Isaiah 66, he says, "You who walk by the light of your own fires, you will lie down in torment." So, I always thought that was an interesting line. You who walk by the light of your own fires, you will lie down in torment.
Where was that?
It's in Isaiah 66.
Okay.
And it's like there's a difference between heat and light.
That is true.
And so, like the ability to basically say, because the sun represents light, which then represents direction. Even if you say, well, I don't need the daylight for light to get direction, we still map everything by stars, which are emanations of light. Mm-hmm. So light symbolizes direction, and heat symbolizes sustenance, or the ability to live in the elements. And so you can be completely dependent on the sun for that, or you can say, I'm going to make my own way. Right? I'm going to create my own direction, and I'm going to create my own sustenance for myself. And in that sense, you can usurp the sun. You could take the sun for yourself and say, or you could say, no, I have to go to it. I have to be subordinate to it and say, okay, what provides direction for my life and what provides the sustenance for my life? And that's really the choice. And so you can either say God is the sun of your, which is really synchronicity because we're talking about the sun of righteousness. You can say God is your sun, which provides, and it's really interesting. C.S. Lewis said something to the effect of Christianity functioned to him like the sun in that, or light in that. He said something to the effect of, I don't see light for light, but light makes it so I can see everything else. And he explained that that's how his Christianity worked.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. At the end of the day, it's like you determine what set of ideas that you're gonna believe in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you don't need God for guidance and direction. You got your own guidance and direction. You don't need God for sustenance. You got your own. Okay, let's see. You just had a hurricane. People even know what the hell to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are so, whether it was a hurricane or like in molecules and viral loads that are so small we can't see them with the naked eye, but killed millions of us a couple of years ago. Like, we are so fragile. Like, there's so much empirical data that demonstrates that we have very little control over a lot of the things that happen on this platform. And like, we still walk around as if like we have a say in those things, and we truly do not have a say in a lot of those things. So it's a very interesting thought process. And to Cal's point, it's interesting because Lucifer was an angel, still is, not sure how that works mechanically speaking. Yeah, I mean, ontologically, yeah. He wasn't just an angel, he was the cherub. I mean, he was the highest ranking, closest to God type of being that there is. And so, when you talk about usurping the sun, he would be the ultimate example of that. For sure.
Yeah.
Such an interesting song, lyrically very deep. And I'm used to my black metal bands coming from Europe, so these guys had a really good command of the language, and so they were doing things lyrically that a lot of metal bands, like, the rhyme scheme was extremely tight in between. And that's something you only see in rap, but you saw it here because these guys are, they're on the New Jersey side. I really like this song. I really, really like this song a lot, especially toward the end, what you were talking about. I love when it can get melodic like that, even if the person doesn't have a melodic voice, kind of like what I said about Gojira and all the rest of it. I really, really like that shit. So I'm gonna give this one a 9.9. It's my song of the night for me.
Yeah, I think I'd just say one more thing about your, I was talking to God the other day, and I get so frustrated, like, really easily. Especially if I have a plan and like it doesn't work the way that I had planned for it to. Like, I thought of these contingencies, then I'm in a situation that somebody else, because I can factor what might go wrong on my project. What I cannot factor is who will interrupt me or who's going to add something else to the list.
Good point. Yeah.
And that is what I never, even after all the kids we've had and everything, like, I've never put that into my equation. Even to this day, I haven't. But anyway, I was talking to God about how angry and frustrated I get about stuff. And I just felt like he was like, but what if everything was me? I was trying to teach you something. I was trying to show you something. And so when that extra thing comes in, I'm trying to show you something. And I get so angry or frustrated, I can't even learn anything or see anything because I'm just so frustrated. And then I was like, yeah, but I get, I kind of like said something quickly back. And then he just said it again. He was like, yeah, but what if I'm trying to show you something? And then I'm like, oh man, okay. And it's interesting because it's only been like a day and a half, but like, I've seen some interesting things, because normally the stuff that would make me like go through the roof, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, let's see what happens. And I was able to see different things, from my kids' perspective, from other people's perspective. It's been a kind of a cool thing. But I mean, I guess we're Christians, so we know that God is working everything out for our good. So I guess it's a little bit easier to look at stuff that way and just be like, okay, whatever happens, it is because God is bringing something here. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be easy, but that God is doing something in all of the things that happen. And anyway, so this song kind of reminded me of that a little bit. And like I said, the ending was just like that rising action, let the dark be cast upon the world. It was, obviously for me, it was like the light be cast upon the world. Just really, 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 really cool song. At first I actually really didn't like it, but as it kept going, I liked it more and more and more. So its final landing place is at a 9.3.
Okay, I'm gonna give this a 9. I gave it a 9.9. I really, really like it.
Whoa, 9.9. That's the highest one of the night.
Deep lyrics. Deep lyrics.
You guys, this was the Alliances.
That was Overshadow Sean. Overshadow Sean. Shout out to him. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Like, as far as like beginning to end to a show. Shout out to Overshadow Sean. How are the kiddos? I don't pick favorites. Also, how's my favorite Johan? Johan's good, man. Johan's out there. He's working.
Oh man.
Yeah, I completely get it. I completely get it. The kid is he's impossible. He's impossible not to love. All right, much love, you beautiful people. We will see you later. Actually, tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have an album review.
We got an entire
DJ
album.
Ben.
Album
DJ Ben will be.
review.
Actually, Ben, are you still here? We didn't nail down a time. What's your earliest start time?
Yeah, he's got 9:20 p.m. EST.
I don't even know why, Ben. You know us. Why wouldn't you just say 9? You know it would mean 9:20.
Oh, because I think he says 9, but he wants it. He knows it's probably going to start at 9:20.
Yeah, probably 9:45.
9:45. All right, what about 8 o'clock, Ben? Could we do 8 o'clock?
Wait, was he joking? I don't know if he's joking or being serious, so I don't know. Well, Ben, just send me an email. Oh, wait, actually, you probably want to say it here so people can know.
I'm busy for tomorrow. Change it for me.
Change it for me.
Ben says 9:30. All right.
9:30.
9:30 it is, you losers. We will see you on the other side of the break. Vin out.
No, there's no break.
There's no break. Well, it's kind of like a maybe
Yeah,
a 24
we'll be back.
hour long break.
Yeah, we'll be back in less than 24 hours.
Later, controller. Wait, what album is tomorrow? It's an entire album. It's a surprise.